Welcome back to Live from reInvent. I'm Rudy Chetty, and did you know that Amazon is the world's largest corporate purchaser of renewable energy? We're going to look into how AWS makes data centers more sustainable and more. I'm joined here with Sarah Slayman, AWS Sustainability Business Development Manager, and Lorraine Kalyana Propriot, who is the Sustainability Manager for the Venetian. Let's start with you, Sarah. How are we at AWS talking about sustainability?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Rudy, for that question, and thank you for having me here. At AWS, we align with Amazon and the Climate Pledge, which is Amazon's commitment to be net zero carbon by 2040. And along those lines with the Climate Pledge, we're committed to a path to 100% renewable energy powering all of our operations by 2025. Now, these commitments, they apply to all of Amazon. So that would include every AWS data center that the developers in our audience use today. So really exciting. Just this week, we've had incredible announcements about that renewable energy. Amazon is actually up to 12 gigawatts of total renewable energy capacity in terms of what we have procured. And that's just a huge amount. That's actually equivalent to removing 3 million US cars off the road for a year.
Wow.
So huge amount of renewable energy capacity. And then in the data centers ourselves, we're continually looking at optimization from the rack up, and then from the chip up in terms of the servers themselves. We've seen exciting things like Graviton3 come out this week. So Graviton is our most efficient chip and processor that we offer. It's up to 60% more efficient for most workloads. So really a lot of choice in what we're doing in the data centers themselves and in the technology used.
Okay, that's great to hear. I mean, look, you mentioned Graviton.
Yes.
How are folks able to use less energy with AWS?
Yeah, that has really two parts to it, Rudy. And the first, again, we had just some great announcements coming this week about really enabling customers to both understand the sustainability of their AWS workloads and to reduce that. So if you were able to see Peter DeSantis in his keynote, he has announced the AWS Customer Carbon Footprint Tool, which is really wonderful. That is a tool for a customer to see and visualize the carbon footprint associated with their usage of AWS services. Now, right along with that, Dr. Werner Vogels announced just this morning that we are adding a sixth pillar to our well-architected framework, and that pillar is sustainability. And I know, huge. It just really speaks to both AWS and the engineers and architects who use it, speaks to how much we value sustainability, that we are adding that as a pillar. So that will come out with a white paper and other guided advice for architects to actually reduce the energy used in their AWS builds. And then the other thing I'll touch on would be the fantastic customers and partners that we have who are building decarbonization and other sustainability technology using our services. And we're really lucky we have some of them here this week sharing their stories. So we have customers like Ion Energy who are using battery analytics to significantly extend the life and the performance of lithium-ion batteries. They're sharing their story this week. Also things like intelligent route optimization. We actually have a customer, SoFar Ocean, who are using predictive analytics and an AWS-based model to reduce the amount of miles traveled and fuel needed for container shipping and really kind of overhaul that ocean shipping problem. So fantastic stories being shared today about sustainability.
Yeah, that's lovely to hear. And one other question I'd like to ask is, what about sustainability right here at reInvent?
Yeah, well, as I touched on, we have a huge amount of content. We have a real depth of content this year for anyone wanting to learn more about sustainability, covering those customer stories and covering sustainable architectures. At at the event itself, we've also worked with our vendors to make the event much more sustainable. So for example, all of the food that you're having, the hot food and packaged, will be donated if it is not used. So the unused food will be donated. We're working with local charities. The packaging is either reusable, recyclable, or compostable. So our attendees will notice some compostable boxes, things like that. And we have a partnership with Charity Water, where when you refill hopefully your refillable bottle or use one of our grab bags, you're able to scan that and work with Charity Water to make a donation. We make that obviously for you on to a sustainable water project throughout the world. So a couple of great events, and Lorraine will actually touch more on that.
Oh yeah, great to hear. But you're right. Let's switch to you, Lorraine. It's like, and the Venetian is doing their part too, right? Lorraine, can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here to discuss the Venetian Resort Sustainability Initiatives. It's really a thoughtless process, honestly, when a guest comes to our resort, whether it's for leisure or they're here for a convention or a meeting. All of the work is being done behind the scenes for them, so they can rest assured their stay with us is going to be as sustainable as possible. And what we do is, first of all, we have LED lighting throughout the resort, here in the expo as well, but through our suites and throughout the resort property. In our suites in particular, we have a master switch, so the no consumption of energy will be used when their rooms are empty. Same process here for the convention space and as well as the expo halls. When they're unoccupied, lighting is turned off completely to reduce the energy that we are consuming. However, we also participate in renewable energy certificates, which offsets all of the energy consumed on our resort. And in addition to that, we have a nanofiltration system, which turns nuisance water that's underground into repurposed water that we can use in various areas throughout the resort. And as Sarah mentioned, we have a robust food donation program. For this event particularly, we're working with over 5 nonprofit community partners to donate all of the food that remains from the event.
Wow, it's always fantastic to hear these kinds of stories and how we're doing it for reInvent. But if I asked you, what are you doing specifically for reInvent itself?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, particularly for reInvent, we have box lunches that are fully compostable. So if they are not able to be donated, if they have already set out and not consumed, all of the product can be fully compostable. We also have a robust sorting going on the dock right now, specifically at the expo for reInvent.
Okay. I mean, that's, like I said, it's just such great stuff. I'm so excited to hear about it. And if we go back to you, Sarah, how can others learn more about how to be sustainable at reInvent and beyond?
I mean, just to recap, what we've seen this week is that AWS is now enabling customers to build more sustainable architectures. So absolutely check out that new Pillar to the Well-Architected framework. We also have a website that is sharing those customer stories about building technology that powers sustainability solutions. And think about that in your own business. Things like building management, applying technology there. You know, that's something the Venetian would know quite a lot about. So looking at that stories can be really inspiring to see how you can innovate. So certainly check out the sessions that we have available. We have over 6 breakout sessions, chalk talks, hands-on, and these will be virtual as well. And you can check out our website, which I think we're able to share.
Okay. Wow. Just awesome to see, awesome to hear. Thank you both for joining us. And folks, that's how tech and sustainability intersect. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rudy Chetty. You're watching Live from reInvent.